How you doing, Colonel? Thanks for joining me this morning.
Good, Todd. How are you, my friend?
Oh, good. Busy, as I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
You've been on a lot of good shows lately, man. I've been tracking.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
what's going on with this? I just saw it this morning, but the drones in Denmark. Any insight on that? And not necessarily this one, but the one in New Jersey in the past. You have any idea what's happening there?
Well, I think, based on the open source information we've been able to glean since the
Hmm.
Trump administration took power, is that what a lot of us suspected, at least part of what we were seeing in New Jersey was government testing.
Hmm.
Don't know what entity, don't know if it was DOD at the time, or Homeland Security, or FAA, any of those types of particulars. But as I said, I think a large part of that was government. I suspect it was uh, Department of War
Hmm.
activity off of the coast that was, being flown overland from a specific vessel.
So we had a video up, very similar stuff over multiple airports, fighter bases in Denmark. The
Yeah.
blinking lights, very similar. I mean, maybe NATO's testing something. What do you think?
Strong possibility. It looked very similar. I took a look at the videos
Mm-hmm.
that you have on your article just before
Hmm.
we came on. It's very, very, very similar. Even the citizens' comments are very,
Yes,
very similar. And
yes,
of course, I'm sure everybody knows Denmark is surrounded by water.
yes.
It's full of water. Yes, NATO forces, probably some U.S. forces on naval vessels may be conducting some testing. Those kind of things. Because, one of the reasons why we should be conducting testing with drones, especially over military installations, is because I still believe we are behind in drone defense,
Yes.
especially when you're talking large numbers of drones and first person view drones with weapons on them, like what we've seen in the Russia Ukraine war develop over time
Hmm.
into very skillful operators and very skillful intelligence capabilities, and then very skillful tactics, techniques, and procedures in the air to get to their targets and destroy them on both sides. Have developed quite extensively. So we're behind on defending ourselves, especially our fixed targets, which are, airfield.
Yeah. And it's not just the offense; it's the defense capabilities. It's all
Yeah.
of it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because it's become a light infantry war, as my good buddy ex Delta guy Pete Blaber says. I mean, this is not, this is 1, 2, 5s going in, probing the lines, and drones coming in to try to stop them. And then you got countermeasures on the drones. I ran a video yesterday of some of the infrared shielding they're doing on the battlefield in Ukraine to stop the acquisition at night and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So you're right. It's really skillful in the way the tactics are evolving, and it's almost kind of rendered obsolete, maybe not obsolete, but vulnerable, a lot of the big weapon systems we have. What's your thoughts on that?
Extremely vulnerable. I mean, look, you don't have to look very far to find the videos and the still photos of Abrams tanks burned out on the
Mhm,
battlefield, chieftains,
mhm.
leopards, all the vaunted battlefield armor
Yeah,
type actions have been devastated
yeah.
by this drone activity. Now both sides continue to evolve their defense tactics,
Mhm.
and to get back to the Denmark thing, that we have to do that kind of testing. So I'm hoping, there's no hope is not a course of action, but I'm hoping that our educated guess that this is some type of our side's government activity
Yeah,
is actual testing for drone defense and those kind of capabilities, because we've got to get it done, especially on
yeah.
these fixed targets, because you get hit by a mass of drones on surprise attack type thing.
Mhm,
If
mhm.
if you don't have your defenses worked out, then that's not a good thing. Now we have a lot of protection that we built from the Cold War for our fighter aircraft and those kind of things that are still in existence in Europe and still used, uh, but they're probably not that well maintained like our HASs and those kind of things. Uh,
Mhm.
I would expect that the air forces, the NATO air forces, are all on a big program to get those maintenance items taken care of and get them back up to full combat readiness. because that can help with light attack, devices like drones and those kind of things.
Yeah. I've always wondered that there has to be some kind of like panic button for an infantry guy on the field if he sees a drone coming. Maybe some kind of light EMP device that just like zaps any electronics within a 20-foot range or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you seen the new tech with the fiber optic lines that
Yes.
these guys are flying these drones with?
Yes.
I mean, that kind of takes your EMP jammer concept and sets it aside. Now they can't all use those, so having a multi-layered self-defense capability for an individual soldier, I think, is important.
Yeah.
I would hope that we have some type of that. I don't have any, access to classified anymore, but that would be prudent to have some small device that could be directed at EMP shield
Yeah.
at a moment's notice. But the IR the IR defensive gear is also really evolving
Yes.
into being very effective too. And I've seen some light man portable devices that are very rapidly, installed at
Hmm.
the individual level that
Yeah.
have been developed. So I mean, there's two right there, two defense capabilities for soldiers right there.
What do you think of Zelensky and Trump's recent comments? I mean, Trump came out and said, and I'll give you my take first. I think he's just trying to put pressure on Russia, and I don't think he really means it. But what are your thoughts on Trump's just comments yesterday, and then the response from Zelensky saying, "Yeah, we're going to use those long-range weapons"?
Yeah. Zelensky's response shouldn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now Trump, some people have bit off onto it. That
Mhm,
there's a couple of influencers,
mhm,
not you, not me, not Bannon.
mhm.
The kind of folks that our little circle here that I pay attention to. But there have been some folks that are wringing their hands saying, "Oh, Trump's turned on us," because most people voted for Trump because he promised to get us out of war, and
Yeah,
especially the
yeah,
Ukraine-Russia war, because that's the biggest threat kinetically to the United States forces and to the
yeah,
United States itself if it were to
yeah.
go awry on that. But I agree with you. I don't think he's flipped. I think he's trying to put pressure pressure on Vladimir Putin, on
Mhm.
Russia, and quite frankly, I think there's another attempt here, and that is to put pressure on the European countries
Totally.
that
Totally.
continue to buy their oil bought from Russia through various means. India does a lot of does the refining for things like diesel fuel. I don't remember if we talked about it on your show or not. You may have been the one that told me about it, but apparently 15% of Ukraine's diesel comes from India, and that's all refined Russia oil. So I think there may be a side tactic here to try to get the European countries, especially like Germany and the Eastern European countries that are now in NATO, to stop uh,
Yeah.
helping fund the enemy that's been declared by them, or the other flip side to that is get them to throw up their hands and say, "Well, Russia's not that big a deal. We're not worried about them rolling over Western Europe," which we really, in truth, are not.
Yes, exactly.
But so there's one of those two angles might actually have an impact in this whole thing. But yeah, I think it's primarily to put pressure on Russia, to message to President Putin and his team that, hey, the United States is serious about the peace deal. It's time to get off your butts and let's get this going,
Yeah.
because nothing good's going to happen from here. Unfortunately, though, nothing's changed, Todd.
True.
Russia continues to grind out, gaining
Mhm.
territory, even if it's inch by inch.
They surrounded the
Every
village this morning.
There
I
you go.
Yeah, yeah,
There you go. And there's really not a darn thing that the Ukrainians can do about it.
yeah.
And this whole thread about the EU forces going in on the ground. What
That's
do
a
you
joke.
well,
That's a
number one, what do you forces, but even NATO forces, look at the NATO ground forces that are available that are not United States ground forces, and tell me that there's enough there to make a positive impact to stop the Russian armed forces from doing what it's doing, which is gaining ground inch by inch.
The oil thing, and well, it's really the sanctions. It's brilliant. Trump said,
Mm.
"Okay, I'll sanction Russia. I'll shut their economy down, but you go first." you know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
once you do it, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
And of course, they're not going to do it. And of course, Hungary and
Mhm.
Slovakia, especially, are going to keep buying Russian oil because that's their whole economy. Although they're not, so involved in the war as the others. But I was talking with a friend the other day, and 30,000 kids a month or men a month are being killed on the Ukrainian side. I
Mm.
don't know how you sustain that, man. I mean, and then that's like the
Yeah.
whole UK army in 2 months. It's
Yeah,
like,
I think
I mean,
UK's got what, 20 to 25,000 ground forces, right, in the
yeah,
Army and Marine
yeah.
Corps combined. Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
yeah, so one, how do you sustain that? And two, I mean, that's just freaking insane. I
Mhm.
mean, the amount of death that's going on, and we played one of the forced conscription things there, just out of control, man. So yeah, this can get really ugly really quick, and the Europeans have nothing to add. They're not going to put forces in there. They don't even have the training or the ability to withstand like the Ukrainians have done on their own.
Well, let's say they did.
Yeah.
And of course, the NATO ground commanders and air commanders and sea commanders are all trained pretty
Mhm.
similarly. So, using independent thinking,
Mhm.
innovative thinking, initiative,
Mhm.
audacity, all of that, which is different than what the Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainian
Sure.
forces are operating under Soviet leadership tactics, in my
Sure.
opinion,
Yeah.
still. Uh, uh, and so let's say that EU countries, for sake of nuance, use their forces that would ordinarily be assigned to NATO forces to go in there, and
Mhm.
those commanders start acting like Western commanders and take the initiative and
Mhm.
everything. What do you think is going to happen to the casualty rates when that happens?
On the Western side or the Russian side?
Until we run out of those commanders, who will be killed, by the way,
Yeah, of
and
course.
a lot of those forces, what do you think is going to happen? The KIA and wounded rates are going to go through the roof
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's modern warfare. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what people are thinking, but it's wishful thinking if you think that a Western U.S. trained force is going to go in there with our kind of initiative and leadership on the battlefield, and casualty rates are going to go down. Absolutely not. And unfortunately, with the way the Russian forces are arrayed, those forces that we put in there will be at an extreme disadvantage.
Yes.
Extreme disadvantage
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they've got satellite mapped every inch of that battlefield. I
Yes.
guarantee it.
Yes.
And I know we do too. But still, I mean, the challenge. It's not that we would necessarily lose, but it will be a long, bloody fight that's worse than the 30,000 a month that the Ukrainians are losing today.
Well, you would see a
You
draft in the
know.
US. If we go in there with NATO, you're gonna have to draft people. I mean, we got 400,000 in the Army. That's and half of those
Oh,
are
oh
combat
yeah,
troops.
yeah. I mean,
NATO
if it starts with NATO, European forces, it won't be very long at all until there's a panic call for U.S. ground forces to go in and save them.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
You know, that's what's going to
and
happen.
yeah. Germany's
You know,
talking about the draft, France, wow. Uh,
yeah.
what is the biggest thing you think right now is the problem that the US military Department of War needs to focus on and deal with?
Uh,
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I mean,
no,
what do you think?
no, it's internal actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have seen since Charlie Kirk's public execution, we've seen
Mhm.
thousands and thousands of people in the active guard and reserve forces in uniform celebrating the fact that an American citizen was publicly executed for exercising a basic right like freedom of speech
Yeah.
and peaceful discourse. And that's a violation of each and every one of their oaths to the Constitution, and they need to be held accountable. And Pete Hegseth has seen the reporting on
Mhm.
social media from a very stalwart band of volunteers
Mhm.
to identify these people and report them, and said they will be held accountable. But there's also senior civilians that are like that, and so there's that piece of it, and then the other piece is replacing the mid to senior level leadership on the civilian side and the political appointments and the senior career policy making positions. It's not going fast enough, man. The
Mm.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Military Personnel Policy, which is the position that places generals and admirals into positions. The reason why you're still seeing Biden people attempt to be placed in positions is because of her. She's still
Wow.
in office. She's a Biden appointee, the
Jeez.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Military Personnel Policy. She also oversaw the recruiting fiasco during the Biden administration,
What's her name?
and her name is Stephanie Miller,
Okay.
and she works under Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, retired General Tata,
Mhm.
who is a good person. But he doesn't have enough forces to replace those people that
Mhm.
are working directly under him. I think there's only one really solid permanent political appointee that didn't have to go through confirmation, another DASD in that area that's been placed.
Wow.
We got to fix that.
Yeah.
Pete needs more help.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Help. Because if he doesn't get help from people like you and others that are sitting out here ready to go, and I'm not saying you're on that list,
Yeah.
or have volunteered to do that, but
They don't want me
people of your
anywhere
mindset, but people of your mindset, mine, even Steve Bannon's mindset. Bannon's a military guy.
Yeah.
We need people of our mindset that are good, solid leaders to be put in those positions now, not wait on the process. And there are ways to circumvent the time
Right.
lag. And I know that Russ Vogt over in OMB knows those pathways to get that done. I know that General Tata is talking to folks and thinking about the right things and trying to take the right actions. But it's like the reinstatement stuff of the COVID folks. None of that has happened. Everything that's been reported that people have been reinstated has apparently been smoke and mirrors.
Well, I had
And it's still not happening.
I had Tom Rimper on recently, and I guess there was a big call with Lohmeyer and Hegseth where they said they're going to form a commission to make that happen. But my question was, okay, great, you get those guys reinstated, but all those people who, exactly as you said, are not doing what they should do should be removed immediately. That should be, if you're not doing what he said, then go.
Well,
What do
the problem is more difficult than that because they are making the appearance of trying to do what he said, but they're using the system and the bureaucratic gates that have to be opened to subvert and resist the orders and slow that process down to a point where it's almost at zero. That's the problem. Is
Wow.
that they're making the noises and everything about it and giving that impression on the surface. But below the surface, the right things are not happening. And when the right things do happen, then the very next thing that happens at the individual level is the wrong thing happens again, and it slows the process back down. I hear about it every single day from somebody that's in that process where
Wow.
they get good news, and then within 24 hours, oh no, here's the next bad news gate that you got to get through, and we're going to insist that that every bureaucratic I and T are dotted and crossed, and that's not the way that's going to happen. I think Secretary Hegseth needs to appoint a task force. There have been solid recommendations made by the STARS organization
Yes.
in writing and others working with them that have presented the organizational structure, proposed folks that could lead that effort and everything. That's going to have to circumvent all of these current bureaucratic process that their folks are being told they have to use, like the Board for Military Records Correction. That is the worst system to use to do that. I mean, they're like making officers that were majors, going on lieutenant colonel, even generals, go through MEPS as an
No.
accession. Yeah. Yeah. Military interest processing stations, guys. That's where we bring our boots in
Yeah,
as pure civilians and do the medical and mental evaluations, physical evaluations
geez.
of them. And they're making these senior people and mid-level people that had careers in the military
Going and
go
get their
through
head
that
shaved
process. So
and all that stuff.
I don't know if they're getting, but they have to go through the MEPS process, which is a different set of standards
Yeah.
than the standards used to re-enlist somebody or re-up somebody in an annual physical, for instance.
Wow.
And just that little thing right there is causing massive wait times.
That's unfortunate. You
Mhm.
mentioned stars. You know, I noticed, and I won't mention names, but I noticed that a lot of the people that were involved in stars got really upset over the Charlie Kirk assassination and kind of the reaction to it in the military. And
Mhm.
I think maybe that there's stars has been fantastic, but some of the people there have been still like, well, I want to do this the right way, and but I think it kind of ripped the mask off for some of those older guys. Like, you know what? This is a real Marxist insurrection. They want to take down our country. Have you felt that from some of the Stars leadership? I could be getting the wrong impression.
That the mask is off, the
They're like
blindfold's off now.
that they're
Yeah.
more like reinvigorated
Yeah.
and more of
Yeah.
more aware of actually what's happening, and it's not just
Mhm.
a bureaucratic issue that has to be dealt with. It's more
Yeah,
serious
I've
than that.
sensed that. I've sensed that too.
Yeah,
And they're right. Welcome to the party,
yeah,
guys.
no kidding. Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I mean, we're all collegial when we work together and everything. And like you,
Mhm.
I work with them. I've been on their board of advisors for a while now. You know, sometimes a population of people just aren't ready uh, to take the step that may be necessary in a
Yeah,
situation because they can't see it.
yeah,
And no matter how much people try to tell them, there's not enough people that can see it to sway that, and that's the way human activity
yeah,
works, and it
yeah,
really works that way in the Pentagon, as you know, and in the military quite effectively. That's a good thing in a lot of ways because that's how we had a military up until now that was not partisan.
yeah.
And those kind of individuals were ferreted out by the system. Unfortunately, that's been turned on its head. And I think that most of them are seeing that now because Charlie was put on the board of visitors for the
Right.
academy, Air Force
Yeah, that was
Academy.
the trigger.
Uh,
Yeah,
and I know that he and some of those senior leaders at Stars were in discussions where they were educating him
mhm.
on what had gone on because Stars is it's the heartbeat of this effort amongst all the service academies to stop
Yes,
the radicalization and
yes.
racism and those kind of things in those particular schools and everything. So they're the heartbeat. They're the data storage folks, the information folks, and are the leaders in the separate. So I'm glad that they were engaged with Charlie. Personally, I watched part of his activity in the first Board of Visitors meeting, which I don't know who the great person was. I don't remember who they said who it was in a call I was listening to not too long ago. That one of the individuals got the meeting live streamed.
Yeah.
I don't know who pulled that off, but good
Well,
on
then
them. We owe
they
him a
taped
beer.
it, and then they took it down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so. But Charlie, the feedback that I got was that he was paying attention. Like the admissions colonel
Yeah, yeah.
that was in charge of the DEI crap was in the room briefing. I think they all saw that, and I think he was aware of that too. So uh, it's so they were getting close to him, and that will help lift that bill
Well, I've
if it
said it
hasn't
many
already.
times. I think Charlie had a lot of effective venues or vectors, and it wasn't just the Christianity or Turning Point thing. It was like the USAF
Yeah.
Board of Visitors appointment, and he was
Mhm.
making real change there. And he was threatening a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hopefully at some point we'll know what happened, but it wasn't just what we see on the media. It was other ways he was being effective,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah.
Very
So
effective.
I've pissed off a lot of people and some of the older, I guess, people and gentlemen and stars because of some of my articles early on because I just saw what was going on and I'm like, guys, And General Bishop called me the guy with a knife in his mouth, and I'm like, well, I mean, sometimes you got to shock the senses to get stuff out. But anyway, what about Iran? I'm hearing a lot. It's the chatter is growing on another type of action in Iran from Israel, and Trump's made comments. We'll do it again. I mean, what do you think is the future there?
Well, from a purely targeting perspective, anybody that's done bomb damage assessment, those and has done targeting of a system of systems and those kind of things knows that it's very difficult to destroy every single node of a system. And what we obliterated was the system overall for their development of nuclear weapons. But the question still is unanswered publicly anyway. I'm sure the team, the U.S. team, has the knowledge of exactly what wasn't destroyed in their nuclear weapons development system, working with the Israelis, because the Israelis are in there. I mean, they've got a human network that's very effective, obviously, and that's what we're relying on, I believe. Because John Brennan had all of our human networks pretty much killed while he was in office, and so I don't say that lightly. But so they are aware of what we didn't hit, didn't totally obliterate, and I'm sure there's some capability that the Iranians look. They're smart. They're not stupid. They've got all these scientists that have been working on this for years and years and years. That they took some type of protective measures for something in the system that they could restart their effort with. And whatever that is, whether it's the rich uranium amount or a small amount of it because they dispersed it, they're going to take that core of whatever they were able to save and restart their program. And you can't go on. I think the Iranians said yesterday, we're at 90% enrichment again, and blah blah blah. And the idiots at the UN's organization, the International Atomic Energy Commission, backed them up and said that too, and all that stuff. But you can't rely on none of that, in my opinion, is valid. All of that is propaganda for one reason or another. So what I'm guessing, educated guess, is that the president and his team have the facts as best can be known by any entity post that first strike. And if they see anything that they think that they can take additional capability out and extend the time it might take for them to get a nuclear weapon further, there'll be some action by somebody on it. I would prefer it not be the United States.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I just don't want that at all. And Charlie didn't want that either. Last question. The EU, van der Leyen, and everybody's telling, let's shoot some Russian jets down, if they come here. And what happened? Turkey did it and nothing happened to them, so we can do it too.
That was during when Turkey did it, that was during the fight in Syria with the U.S. and NATO forces.
And Turkey did have consequences because Russia shut down their economy. They stopped all their tourists going there. And Erdogan got the love for Russia real quick.
Absolutely. Turkey did have consequences. Now, somebody that didn't have consequences is Donald Trump in the United States of America when we killed 300 or 400
that's true
Russian troops that were contractors.
Wagner,
the Wagner guys. There were very few consequences, none that I know of, openly to us for that. And the president just said, "Look, you threatened my forces. They're done. If you want to do something about it, bring it."
In fact, the Kremlin even declined to even respond or help them in any way.
Yeah. I think the difference between the government leadership and Wagner leadership, there was a gap in agreement there quite often. When I forget the gentleman's name.
Prigozhin.
Prigozhin. That President Putin had in this life here in this airplane crash. I think there was a big gap there quite often in there, and that's why, because Prigozhin was doing obviously stuff that wasn't aligned with president of Russia or Duma or the oligarchy they say controls the place.
Well, the AC-130s kind of went crazy that night. But tell us about your show. What do you got coming in the future? Where can people find it? All of that.
Hey, the Rob Maness Show, Monday through Thursday, live, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. You can find us on X. We simulcast to an X space for the live audience we take questions from. And that starts at 2:30 Eastern. And I try to stay on for 30 minutes after the live TV show until 4:30 Eastern. I don't know. I can't always do that, but we're there. Shell runs it and everything. And we're on Worldview Tube. The Rob Maness Show is back up on YouTube. I had had all of my channels destroyed by censorship.
Yeah, me too.
Except for my personal one. So I had been streaming to my personal channel, bought a premium subscription to it so I could do that and everything. And that's where the show's been going to. And it will continue to go there through my Substack page, but which is Colonel's Brief, by the way, on Substack. If you want to subscribe to that, then you could throw a paid subscription at us if you want. We don't ask for that, but the subscriptions are free. Same thing on X, by the way. Anyway, so the Rob Maness Show YouTube channel is back up and running. We are streaming to it with the live show, and we'll upload the post-edited shows to that channel too. If you want to go subscribe to that, just type in the Rob Maness Show in the YouTube search bar, just like you do on Rumble, and subscribe it, like it, share it, and those kind of things. And of course, still on Rumble, the Rob Maness Show and the Worldview Tube live stream where the show live streams to the network and everything. And we're on Facebook, Gettr, True Social Plus, Pickaxe. The show goes to Pickaxe through the live stream within about an hour, I think, after we publish it. So yeah,
cool.
we're excited about that because it's more eyeballs, not because we like frickin' Google or Alphabet or whatever that is, but because it's eyeballs, and we've got a small victory on this whole censorship thing.
I totally agree.
That forced them to do that. Now, if they'll just release my ad account so I can run ads.
Yeah, that's a whole nother Google ads.
And then Facebook needs to let me out of jail so I can get back to earning 10 grand a month in gross revenue off of my website at robmaness.com through my Facebook audience. And that's been going on since October 1st, 2020.
Wow. Yeah.
5 years now. All happened about the same time.
Yes. And I put an article out this morning. Rumble has been screwing with us. I mean, our videos are not processing. They've been defollowing people, daily. We were growing every day for like a year, and all of a sudden it went the other way for the last 2 weeks, which I find nefarious. So it's somebody doesn't like what we're doing, but anyway. Rob, thank you very much.
Same people that didn't like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk had two things going, but obviously he led with his Christian faith, but he said, I'm going to tell the truth and I'm not going to compromise. And that's what you try to do too.
Exactly.
Tell the truth. They don't like
Thank you. Thank you. Always enjoy having you on. I appreciate you taking the time. Take care.
Thanks, brother. I'll be on Sirius XM David Webb show here in about 20 minutes.
Oh, cool. Everybody check that out. Take care.
Bye-bye.